Hi everyone, Sam Baxendale here, co-founder of Kinetic Hiring. So for today we've got Norman Noble, who's a vastly experienced CTO with 25 years experience, having worked across the UK, Australia, and for the last 2 years in Malaysia. Norman has some fantastic insights to share, and today he's going to be talking about some of those shared insights. What has he taken as positives from the last 18 months, as well as some deeper dive points around data and analytics in relation to good HR practices and hiring practices. And finally, Norman's going to be talking about his view on Malaysia prospects over the next 2-3 years in the context of the My Digital initiative, which is set to create 500,000 jobs in Malaysia with over 70 billion in investment from the government. So some great insights there, and we look forward to sharing those with you. So Norman, great to have you here with us today. So for the benefit of the audience, why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself, what you've been up to?
Sure. I've been working in tech since around about the mid-90s. Kind of always been into technology even since I was a small child. So when I was still at school, actually, to help out a friend who had a startup back when we were still using kilobaud modems and the internet was very different to what it is now.
Yeah.
And then, sort of progressed through that, moving into working for oil and gas companies. Where I'm from in the UK, a place called Aberdeen, is very oil and gas centric. So
absolutely,
90% of people who live there end up in some form or other going into oil and gas.
Natural choice.
Yeah. So spent a bit of time working for some of the larger companies you might recognize, like your BPs and Shells, for about 10 or 15 years. I then obviously met my wife, and we made the decision that we didn't want to live in the northeast of Scotland anymore. You know, it can be quite challenging during winters. Yeah. So we decided to relocate and looked at a bunch of different places. My wife had done some traveling in Australia, and I'd been there. Yeah, we relocated to Melbourne, and
what a place.
We spent about 10 years in Melbourne. I really wanted to make a conscious decision about moving out of oil and gas and energy, try something different. So I ended up moving into, I guess, what you would call digital media, and spent the past 8 years actually, working in digital media.
Yes.
And then for the last 2 years, we've actually been living in Malaysia. We moved out here, an opportunity came up with the company I was with, and it was a chance to, again, explore a new part of the world, try something a bit different, and just completely fell in love with Malaysia. So
cool. And for the benefit of the audience, you've been pretty much software engineering all the way through the ranks. It's hands-on through to building teams, building better practices.
It's been quite a varied journey, to be honest. Started off very much, it was sort of early days programming websites. As I started to, I guess, pick up, more sort of experience, started to get a bit more serious about what I was doing. It sort of went from sort of front end, back end, infrastructure. I'm quite lucky in that I've had the opportunity to jump around all sorts of different areas of technology.
Multiple areas of exposure. And very large team as well, specifically.
Again, that's been variable. I've worked in environments where it's been very small teams where there's maybe 5 or 6 of you.
Yes.
And then to where I am now, where easily upwards of 150, 200 people that you're working with.
Fantastic. Well, some fantastic perspectives to draw from all that experience, no doubt, for today's discussion. So Norman, we're here to talk about change and perhaps positives that have come through from the last year, 18 months of experience that we've all gone through. Hopefully we can say safely we're coming out of the tail end of that. But with that sense of perspective, looking back, what are the 3 big learns that you think you've taken and that you can take forwards into your new way of working 2021 and beyond, let's say?
Right. Yeah. So I guess with the benefit of hindsight and being able to look back over the past 12 months or so, one of the things that was clear to me that made it really challenging for everyone was that things that we believed to be certain and true were almost overnight completely turned upside down.
Sure.
So as a leader, you can't control the world, you can't control all these larger things that are going on, but you can control to a certain degree a lot of the things that do affect the people that you work with, and especially you can control the way that you behave and the things that you do.
Sure.
Or if it's certainty and predictability that's gone, in a sense that can almost be a removal of safety for the people that you work with. So what you can do to try and alleviate that is be very predictable and certain about the things that you know to be true.
Yes.
So as an organization or as a technology company, you can give certainty around what you're going to do, the things that you're going to put in place, the actions you're going to take, the direction you're going to take. That's very important to give people a sense of, well, where's all this heading and what does this mean for me?
Yeah, a sense of structure.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and dependability, I guess, as a result.
Just really knowing where all this is going. Like in the outside world, you can't really predict anything.
Yeah.
You can't tell when vaccines are going to be made available. You can't tell when you're going to get one.
Yeah.
But as a company, you can't tell, well, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, and we aim to be here by that.
That could be based on variables, sort of indicating moving parts at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
And so, being clear about where you're going as a company is very important. Or I also believe that, everyone is in a very different and challenging situation than what they're used to. So everyone's got family either they can't connect with or they can't reach, or they've got arguably maybe too much connection with.
Yes.
A lot of people are working with schooling from home, and that's a challenge in itself. So you really, really have to double down in understanding the people that you work with and the things that are challenging for them, as well as the things that you can do to help and support in that space.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, I'd say that one of the learnings I've had is to maybe over-index in that space, which might seem counterintuitive. People have got a lot going on. You don't want to add too much in, but I've found that personally more regular, but maybe shorter check-ins with the teams is actually really helpful to understand the context as you go. Is
that from your level, Norman, or from your leadership team? Is that sort of something cascaded throughout the group?
Look, it's something that I worked out pretty quickly early on, that my normal cadence of around sort of an hour every 2 weeks was how I would tend to catch up with my direct reports. But then we shifted to 30 minutes to 45 minutes every week, just because we found there was enough changing that made more sense. And the really nice side effect of that was that I just got to know people a lot better. You were able to talk about things that had happened in a shorter period of time. So
absolutely.
I felt that was in an environment where you're in an office and you normally feel a degree of connection just by being close to people.
Yes.
You can't do that online, so you have to find other ways to feel like you've got a strong connection.
Absolutely. Care to mention a couple of examples on that?
Yeah, there's definitely a couple of people that I work with whose children I know a lot better now.
Right.
Almost to the point where one lady I work with, Andrea, her son Xander, will now jump out when he knows that I'm on the Zoom, and he's always very keen to talk about dinosaurs.
Cool.
So it's you do get a much better understanding of what people's personal lives are like.
Absolutely.
And I think it actually helps strengthen the relationship you got with those people.
Absolutely. So the two things there is acknowledging that there's certain things you can't control, but creating more of a sense of, look, this is what we understand, this is what we do know, these are the variables, and this is going to be our course of action.
Yeah, absolutely.
Building greater intimacy with your team members has been absolutely instrumental
crucial,
is a key aspect of that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. When humans are dealing with uncertainty, it's very challenging for them. So the better a relationship you can have, the better you can support them through that. So
awesome.
Absolutely. The last thing I'd probably mention is that we all have jobs to do. I try to work my best to make that as easy for the people to do those jobs as possible. So we all work in a series of systems. We have task A to get done. These are the things that help me get task A done. These are the things that get in the way of task A getting done.
Yeah.
So, what can we do to make that as smooth as possible so that people aren't unnecessarily burning time and effort on things that are reasonably predictable.
So running a bit leaner.
Yeah, basically, just systemizing what you can, making it easy to understand, lessening the cognitive load of the people working with those systems.
Right.
That really helps.
Okay, cool. Again, any examples to share on that, Norman?
Yeah, there's probably a whole bunch of things that we've done recently. I'd say probably the one that sticks out the most for me is the way we've changed our approach to hiring.
Yeah.
Whereas in the past, it could have been variable depending on who was doing what.
Yeah.
We've spent a lot of time in investment in that system to make sure that everyone's clear about how it works, what parts they need to know more about, what parts they need to change and adapt to. And then with the overall idea being that once we all understand that system a lot better, it's actually lowering the effort and cognitive load put on the individuals to work with that system.
But it's actually become better as a result.
Yeah, that's been a really well, that was all the intent of why we started it. But it's been great.
So dealing with the conditions of the pandemic has actually improved approaches and enlightened thinking.
Yeah, absolutely. Is that their hiring systems are normally designed to prove that candidates aren't capable to join your organization.